It's the Sportsline Podcast on the CHCH media platform, and whether you're watching or listening, great to have you with us. As our regulars know, sports in Southern Ontario is our focus, and we love to get in touch with the athletes, coaches, broadcasters, and executives that do make us proud. Today, a very special guest that leads a sport that has become very strong and a very strong representative for the city of Hamilton. After years of defunct leagues and a number of hits and misses in this country, the Canadian Premier League has raised the profile of domestic soccer in this country. Strong ownership, a league for high-level players to develop and be noticed, and now a national television deal is why season number 7 is set to be the very best. But at the end of the day, strong leadership is required, and after David Clanacan laid down the blueprint, Mark Noonan has the CPL on solid ground. Let's chat with the man, Mark Noonan. Glad to have you on the Sportsline Podcast. So excited. Week 1, here it is. Tell me your level of excitement.
Yeah, what a great intro. Thank you very much. And thank you for your coverage. You know, you guys are helping us build the sport, and you're doing something really special in Hamilton on and off the field. And, you know, it's clubs like the Forge and players like Kyle Becker that allow us to go and get national television deals, that allow us to engage with the fans, allow us to be the league of opportunity for Canadians. And, you know, in this day and age, we're really leaning into the fact that our league is made in Canada. It's played in Canada. 73% of our playing minutes go to Canadians. We're giving these young kids like Kwesi Poku a platform to live their dreams and then go on to more established leagues and make a bigger paycheck and reinvest those proceeds back into the club and back into the league. And so we are absolutely thrilled where we are, but we're very far from being satisfied.
I'll hit you with the national perspective first and then a league perspective. From a national perspective, you kick off with 4 outstanding matches that I think anyone in the regions all across the country have to be thrilled about.
Yeah, we really are excited about that. You know, Atletico Ottawa is really special, and they've done a phenomenal job with their fan experience. And Halifax Wanderers are one of the great clubs that we have. And I don't need to tell you about Forge and Cavalry and the rivalry and the standard of excellence that those two clubs have on and off the field helps set the pace for our league. And you know, that match will be on TSN live as well as One Soccer. And then we head out west, and I've heard the weather is going to be spectacular out west, where we've got Victoria, Pacific FC and Victoria playing Winnipeg Valor, who I think is going to be a very one of our surprise teams of this year, based on what I'm hearing in the preseason. I believe they're going to make the playoffs. And then we've got a bit of a typo here. I think it should say Vancouver FC against York United. So you keep me on my toes here.
We certainly do that. We had the logo right. It's actually, I spelled it. I will take responsibility for that one there. Hey, okay. So on the local basis here, I mean, you've been here. I believe this is your 3rd year as the commissioner. From your observation, what is it with the rivalry with the CPL Shield winners, Forge and Cavalry, who won the playoffs with the North Star Shield? What's that rivalry mean to this league?
It means everything. So soccer is built on derbies that organically evolve, and it starts with these two organizations with just great leadership in the ownership suite. You have the Hamilton Sports Group, and you know Scott Mitchell and Bob Young there in Hamilton, and then you've got the Southern family and Ian Allison in Calgary. And then there's the leadership of the technical side. You know, you've got Bobby, who nobody needs an introduction there. And then Tommy Wheeldon Jr. has just been consistently excellent, you know, in building that cavalry program. And when you're both striving to be the best and you're both putting an excellent product on and off the field, you know, it makes us all better. It makes each one of those clubs better. You need a rival to improve.
You've been very fortunate in the entire 6 years previous coming into this season to have the likes of One Soccer. And this was sort of how this all got developed, this sort of pay-per-view soccer coverage that you were getting that requires provides all kinds of coverage, even not on match days. So that's been very, very fortunate. But now you've kind of gone one step farther where One Soccer will also be seen nationally on TSN. And that's got to be a huge acquisition for you to promote this league.
Yeah, it really is, because TSN is where people go for their sports on a national basis. One Soccer is where they go for their soccer. And so One Soccer is lit up 24/7, 365. We eat, breathe, sleep, and all we do is think about soccer. But TSN gives us a broader platform, particularly to reach those people that are soccer interested in this country that aren't necessarily CPL engaged yet because they haven't heard of us, or they haven't known us, or they may not have a club in their community. So it's kind of One Soccer plus TSN is the best combination to reach as many soccer interested and sports interested people as possible, and show them what a true Canadian league can do. And in a league that's only 7 years young, we need that exposure to continue our growth.
You know, this has been a big week for you, obviously leading up to kickoff weekend, but you had a big announcement about a traveling match. Why don't you let our fans know about it?
Yeah, I was in Quebec City yesterday, and we announced that we are taking one of our regular season games, the York United home game, on May 31st. And the Halifax Wanderers is a visiting team, and we're going to be playing at the University of Laval in Quebec City. At 4 p.m. on One Soccer and on TSN, and we're incredibly excited. We need to expand the footprint of this league. We need more communities to experience what CPL is like and the benefits that we can provide to a community. And Quebec is a very important province for us, and so we had a terrific news conference yesterday with Mayor Marchand and the representatives from the city office and city council and the university, and we couldn't be more excited to bring the CPL product on tour.
What did you learn from last year's experience of playing a road game for both teams?
Yeah, we did it in Kelowna. It was the first time that we've done it, and the experience was phenomenal because the fans turned out in the community. It allowed us to showcase our product, but also to build the relationships that you need to be successful in an expansion community. So we built the relationships with Mayor Dias in Kelowna and his staff and the city council, and we showed them the benefit that having a CPL club in their market brings. And I hope we have some more goals this year, because that was a 0-0 match. It was a pretty exciting 0-0 match, but everybody wants to see goals. And it allows us to showcase to the community, build those relationships. And, these things don't happen overnight. We're very bullish on Kelowna as a future CPL market based on that experience.
Coming out of Duke University for yourself, and just on a personal basis and your personal development, I don't know if a kid from the U.S. Northeast grows up to be wanting to be the CPL commissioner. How did this all come about?
Like anything, through mutual connections, I tend to think of myself as a citizen of the world because I'm a soccer player. I've played with everybody from every walk of life and every country in the world. I lived in Taiwan as a kid. I lived in Ghana as an adult and worked in Ghana. And when this opportunity came, and it's the combination to help grow a league, which I had helped do with the earlier days of MLS, and to represent the national teams and have a media network. And you combine that with the raw materials that Canada has from a talent perspective, and I think this is the best soccer opportunity in the world. You have a top 10 economy. You have incredible diversity. You have great players that are you're able to develop and then move on. And I just think Canada's got nothing but upside here.
I'm glad you said Ghana. I don't know if many people that are watching this podcast or listening to this podcast know about your one-year role as the Chief Executive Officer of Acura Hearts of Oak in Ghana. What kind of experience was that for you like, and why did you do it?
Yeah, I think we would need like a couple hours to really unpack that. Amazing life experience, amazing experience professionally. Nice picture. I'm impressed with the research that you do here. But it was at a time in my life where both of my girls had gone off to school, so my wife and I were empty nesters. And if you know anything about football, you know the amazing talent that Ghana produces. This is a club that was 107 years old, former African champions, and it was an opportunity to really kind of put myself in an uncomfortable position by moving to a new country, living as a minority, really trying to understand the culture, and it was an amazing experience until, sadly, the league got shut down by a massive corruption scandal. Fortunately, had nothing to do with my club or anything that I did, but because of that, there was it was time to come home. But I still get WhatsApps from former players, from supporters, and the way they talk over there, they're just so endearing. It's like, Daddy, when are you coming back? Father, we really miss you. It made a huge impact on me, and hopefully I helped a little bit while I was there.
One other role in your development to becoming the CPL commissioner was your role as the Global Chief Commercial Officer for the World Surf League. Again, how does that build you up to be the man that you are today?
Yeah, maybe you can tell by my hair, I'm not exactly starting my career off. And I grew up in a world where you had three network television stations, or you had some predominant cable situations, and I was worried that I was going to become a dinosaur if I didn't understand the whole digital media world. And so there was an opportunity where there was a roll up of professional surfing where you had the best men and the best women surfers in the world competing in 6 different continents. And because of the nature of surfing, where it's hard to schedule because Mother Nature plays a role when the waves are firing, it's a digital first property produced from the middle of nowhere in the water and then distributed live around the world. And it really gave me an opportunity to understand that world, because I felt like if I didn't, I'd become a dinosaur. And the second we stop learning about how people communicate, how people engage, how different cultures react as the world gets smaller and smaller, if you stop learning, you are a dinosaur. And I'm trying to hold off.
It's just incredible when you look at to be quite honest, the expansiveness, there is a closeness to football as well too, but the things outside of it, I guess, help you to become the commissioner that you are today, running this successful league that's getting ready for a 7th season. Let's go back. We obviously play in Hamilton. We talk about the Cavalry and the Forge rivalry, and I know you're going to be probably down the middle on this, but I have to say it, and then you can go from here. The fan base in Hamilton, is there anything like it in the Canadian Premier League?
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. I love the supporters, and a shout out to Kevin with his knit outfit, and the whole group, and the tifo, and the way that they really support their fans. And they came to Calgary last year for the final. They helped set the standard. But I will say that if you go to Calgary, they do it in the Calgarian way and do an awesome job. You go to Ottawa, you go up to Halifax, and that's the beauty of our league, is that these soccer cultures are developing, and each one of our cities and clubs is doing it in their own unique way. But they're such an important part of our sport and what we do and how we develop, and they're fun, right? And so I can't wait to hear what the Forge supporters have in store for tomorrow.
You'll be there, right?
I will be there. Saturday, I should say. Yeah, I'll be there Saturday, 5:30. Mm-hmm. Be there live, and if you can't be there live, tune in to TSN and One Soccer.
Spoken like a true commissioner.
Oh yeah.
8-team league. Any chance of expansion?
Yeah, we're working really hard on expansion, and I've stated publicly that by 2032 ish, I think we'll be in a position to double the size of the league, and we'll add teams thoughtfully between now and then. Obviously, one of the reasons why we were in Quebec City yesterday, because we think that would be a fantastic expansion market. We have about a dozen different markets that we're discussing right now: Kelowna, and obviously Quebec City in the province of Quebec, and so we're actively working on it, and thank you. You're going to hear some announcements in the not too distant future.
Exciting. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your linkage with the Canadian team, the national men's team. There's becoming, I think, a little relationship that's being built. Is there not?
We represent the commercial rights for Canada Soccer, so sponsorship and media for the men's national team, the women's national team. Our version, the Canadian version of the FA Cup, which is called the TELUS Canadian Championships, and so they're our business partner, and their success is our success.
On that note, the Women's Pro League that starts in, oh my goodness, a couple of weeks from now. Your thoughts about what's happening on the women's side of this sport?
Yeah, we're excited about it, and it's been a missing piece of the puzzle, because we actually operate on each end of that Division I Women's League and NSL, because we represent and run a league called League One Canada. Which has about 65, 70 women's team, including something called the Interprovincial Championships, which was recently held in Hamilton. And I don't want to say the majority. I bet you most of the NSL players are coming out of League One, and they come out of League One, and we have 60 League One players in CPL, so it's an incredibly important part of the development period. So they come out of League One and they come into NSL or CPL, and then what we hope is that they do great in their domestic leagues and end up in the national teams. And CPL has had 11 guys represent Canada, and we hope to have many more in the future. And so, NSL hopefully will create that excellence on the women's side, and continue to provide talent for our Canadian women's national team.
Well, just a couple of months ago, we had Diana Matheson sitting here on the very couch in the Sportsline Podcast, and I mean the excitement around the nation again for women's sports and its growth, and especially for football. I think it's just an outstanding thing. And let's look right back and again what we have planned this weekend. Maybe one more look at the games, and again the excitement that is building for the season number 7. No doubt going to be the best that we have seen. It's been a slow build every year. Excitement. I know Forge have won this thing a number of times, but boy, it's when I look at the teams and sort of do a little research, it's a wide open league.
It really is. And if you think about last year, 111 out of 112 games counted. Every game counts in CPL. And the last day we had our all four matches at the exact same time, only 2 out of the 8 positions had been decided. And so we have arguably one of the most competitive leagues in the world, because you can't take a game off in our league. So you show up to one of these games, you're going to get each one of the team's best shot, and that's the way we like it. We're not big into super teams. We want every club to have a chance, every fan base to know that the deck isn't stacked against them, that if their front office does a good job and their technical folks do a good job, they got a chance to lift hardware every year.
Mark, this has been outstanding getting to know you. Obviously, the excitement in these parts for the CPL, it is building, and there is an anticipation. Hamilton Stadium, I guess we're calling it at this point right now. Big matchup for week 1. Look forward to bumping India in the stadium, in the media area. And, of course, continued success for this season 7. I think it's going to be outstanding. And I guess the national coverage, too, taking it to a whole new level. So thank you for joining us on the Sportsline Podcast.
Yeah, Bubba, thank you for having me on, and thank you for being a supporter and a fan, and using your platform to promote this game. This is a Made in Canada league. It's a Played in Canada league. It's giving opportunities to Canadians that they never had. And without guys like you, we're not going to be able to spread the word about those opportunities. So we really appreciate the coverage.
Any type of news that you have, let me know, and we'd be more than willing to promote. Thanks again.
You bet. Cheers.
All right. That's the Sportsline Podcast for the day. And as you've just seen and heard, we love talking sports, and it's footy that we're talking about. If you do know of an athlete, team, or event to promote the Sportsline Podcast, want to hear from you, please hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe button. And if you have something to say, I always appreciate your comments. For the outstanding people that make the Sportsline Podcast possible, thank you so very much. We'll see you tomorrow.